And
It's
now
cool.
it's the KLA show.
Yeah, how you guys doing? This is KFA Cloud Wamba, and along with me is PC Grace. And yeah, this is video. Yeah, how you doing, man? Thank you for tagging along with me on this. I'm gonna explain the viewers what this video is about. It's really about the extreme of bodybuilding, and what caught to my attention, what caught me was when it goes back to Jim Carrey when he did this character called Vera de Milo, and he could see was this bodybuilder that was on steroids and he had that deep voice. I don't know if you ever seen it up in color.
From on Living Cover, yeah, Color, yeah.
Yeah. So
Even when I was a kid.
This is who I'm talking about for the people that don't know, but I'm sure a lot of viewers they know what I'm talking about, And I'll play some clips for him doing the skit, you know.
Alrighty, let's start with a stretch and down. Okay, now you try. See how those big breasts just weigh them down? I'm telling you, you can't float till you get rid of those sinkers. And now the shoulders. Come on, girls. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Now this one. Just pull it and pull it. Really pull it. Wow. That's gonna be sore in the morning.
Yeah, what made me do this? I remember I posted a video of somebody. They weren't a bodybuilder, but they were like strong women, and somebody kind of compared Jim Carrey to that person. So it was stuck in my head with the Vera de Milo thing me and you had some discussions about the extreme of bodybuilding and stuff. So, that's why I kind of came with this topic and stuff. Do you think that it was onto something in Living Color? Because, back in the day, they did like parodies of people like celebrities and stuff like that. And, like you see like the extreme of bodybuilding with the deep voice and.
Well, it's weird seeing that now going back just because they picked Jim Carrey because he's funny, but if you go and look at it, he's not even muscular. So it's kind of weird getting this very kind of scrawny built dude to play a female bodybuilder. Like even back then, female bodybuilders were more jacked than he was at that time. I know why they were trying to make fun of him and all that, but and then they didn't even do any weightlifting in the spoof. He was doing more yoga and stretching and stuff like that. So it's almost like an aerobics class. So no, I don't think that they were onto something way back then. I mean, I think the progression of female bodybuilding has reached an extreme, but I think people saw that as a possibility when it first jumped on the scene. I don't think the people back then though knew that it was going to get to what we see a lot of today with the competitors.
Yeah. I don't know, like when I was younger, I didn't really pay it no mind. I just seen it and stuff, and like growing up, like if you had like an interest of it, I know that ain't no stranger. You're not a stranger to that. But growing up, people see you had an interest of it. They kind of would look at you kind of funny, like you like that stuff. you know. You know, but there were people that that did like you. You
What I was about to say though is I I think when it comes to the stage look, like if you're talking about like what we see at the Olympia and all that, yeah, I think all the competitors now have reached an extreme. Um, and it's been that way for a little while. But like when they're in off season, it's completely different. Most of them, at least, they have gained enough fat and curves to offset that level of masculinity. They're still going to be big, but when they're on stage, when they're all contest ready, I mean, I don't know what they're on these days, but the stuff that they are on is very extreme. And there's different, there's probably many different layers of test and HGH and all this other stuff that they're on in order to get that get their what's it called their body fat percentage as low as it does, and to have their muscles as big and as vascular as they are. It's I mean, I've been to several shows when you see them up close whenever they're prepping for a show. And I mean, this is even seeing them with makeup on. So imagine when you're seeing them without it. It's very, very gross. It is almost like it feels like you're looking at a guy. And that is something that people have been kind of pushing back on. Um, that's why they even created women's physique in these other divisions. But then the women's physique competitors now, even though they're smaller than the bodybuilders, they're still just as jacked as they are. And as a result, when they're all on stage and stuff, they do right now look more attractive than the female bodybuilders as a whole, but they're still extremely masculine, even the women's physique competitors. Um, I think some of the best physiques that I've seen on stage that looked that had a mixture of femininity and still muscularity is more old school female bodybuilders. And I'm not talking about like the Corey Aversons and Linda Murray's because everyone talks about those. But I'm talking about even ones that didn't make it to super um, to like really big to the Olympia and all that. I feel like if you really want feminine female bodybuilders, you have to go to more the NPC shows where they're not at that extreme level just yet. And hopefully, I think more of the wiser girls are the ones who are like, you know what? There's no reason for me to try to keep chasing to get to the Olympia and sacrifice, everything, my ability to have children and all this other stuff. And that's some girls don't want that, but still there's some who just don't want to sacrifice their femininity to that extreme to get to what the Olympia level requires. And like if you're chasing the Olympia, like I'm sorry, you are going to. I've seen it with all the girls on the stage right now, especially some of the newer ones over the last 3, 4 years. They look way, way different than they did years ago when they were doing, like, say, Wings of Strength shows, Rising Phoenix. A lot of those girls were more attractive to me back then, and I'm not going to say any names, but seeing them transform now because they're chasing this ideal that the judges are putting forth, and it seems to be the judges and then also extreme female bodybuilding fans, all they want is more and more jacked muscles. Just let's almost like freakish cartoonish. And to get to that point, you're gonna start having people that almost look like monsters.
Yeah, I got some pictures of some bodybuilders. Um, this was years ago, but this
Yeah, I
picture
know.
was yeah, yeah. And there's another one. This was a recent one, Mariana Guayaro, and she
What is that?
actually
Is that a dude?
that's a woman, and she
Why do you have
they
that picture of that person as a dude then?
No, but that's what they transitioned. They had
So
like
they are they're a dude. That was a
well,
dude.
woman. They were a woman first. They're biological woman, but you know,
Uh,
I
then she transitioned to become a dude.
yeah, yeah. And so they took their hair out and stuff. You know, I guess they didn't want to just stand out. Yeah, I seen that. That was crazy. Another one that stands out to me is Anastasia Kovaleva. She stands out. There's a clip of
Yeah, that's the one we had talked about. George had mentioned. Um, from this distance, I can't tell, but when I saw her close up, I was like, for how thick, I mean, how thick her muscles are, and then also how wide her shoulders and waist. I mean, I really, I question that that's a woman at all. Like, I don't, but
yeah,
that's what they're pushing more and more is and eventually the girls that look like that, if they are girls at all, are going to be the ones that win. And I would not be surprised if one day, if it keeps going that way, you find out a biological man won Miss Olympia one day, um,
you
because
think
they're
it could get
blurring
to
the
that
line.
point? You think it'll
Huh?
be to that point? You think it'll be to
I
that
mean, if
point
it, if it
though?
if it doesn't stop, if it doesn't stop the way, then yeah, it's gonna go that way. Right now, people want to cater to that movement anyway, so no, everyone's afraid to offend people and call them out if they are.
Yeah,
Uh, and so, and then also too, like right now, what we've seen from the judges is they're just going off of muscularity, 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 vascularity for the women. They're not going for a balance of both beauty and muscularity. They've, I think when Jake Wood brought back Wings of Strength, they were supposed to be trying to do that, but that has not been the case at all. Um, and I don't know if that's his doing or I mean I think it's a lot the judges and probably a lot of money going on behind the scenes. And then there's probably there's a lot of guys in the world that are into more extreme. There are guys who are
yeah,
going to be attracted. They're attracted to trans, and they're attracted to women who basically are almost exactly like men. That's what I've been on forums and stuff and seen art and all kinds of stuff. There's certain guys out there that want the most masculine female bodybuilder they can find. If the girl is more curvy, still muscular but more curvy and soft, feminine looking, those guys aren't interested in those. So um, the judges seem to not be interested in those as well. So they tend to just keep pushing the criteria for the woman to keep chasing this more masculine look. And when it gets to that point, you know, I mean, maybe a man won't end up winning Miss Olympia. I still think it may happen if it keeps going there, but you'll see it probably a man getting top three, you know, it's weird because because that's the state of the world we're in.
yeah. They not too long ago they was talking about other sports outside of bodybuilding. Where, you know, trans women competing in women's sports and stuff. I think they ended it. Like they kind of prohibited that now. Like it's a law that they not they're not able to compete in women's sports. So
Good,
you know,
because it's
from what
like
I've
the
heard,
truth is, I mean that's good, I think, because it's going to help protect the women. Because a lot of those guys, and this is something that no one really talks about, no one mainstream talks about, but a lot of those guys who are becoming trans and then competing in women's sports, at the end of the day. they're just trying to win at all costs. They couldn't win against guys, so they're going to a naturally biologically usually weaker and less strong or less less athletic uh, being in terms of just most 99% of women, and they're competing against them and then going and taking all their accolades. And people are too afraid to call it out, but the truth is it's just people, the dudes who are doing that are just people who want to win at all costs, and they're looking for that trophy, they're looking for that adoration, the admiration, and so they're willing to do it, even if it means, sacrificing their sex to do so.
Yeah, I didn't know that they would. I didn't know it was to that point. I remember like a couple of years back, I did notice somebody. They looked at they was a bodybuilder, and then they kind of transitioned, as a woman bodybuilder.
I
But
mean,
I
the
don't
thing
know if they
is,
competed or not.
what the thing is, why do we not see it the other way around? Why do you not see a bunch of women who transitioned into men competing against men in men's sports? You don't see that at all because they would get destroyed. Those women aren't entering those sports with that agenda in mind. They have they have their own other reasons for doing it, but we don't hear that at all. It's always men transitioning into female sports and then dominating it. So that's, to me, suggests that if it's only one-sided, that one side's doing it because they know they have an advantage when they do it. You know, the other side, women know they do not have an advantage if they go transition to become a man and start competing in men's sports. So,
Yeah, I mean, I, yeah, that's what I wanted you to come up on this topic. I didn't want to like cover it all by myself because I just know bits and pieces of it. Where you kind of been around bodybuilders, women bodybuilders and stuff like that. You have like relationships with some of them, and you see like the extreme and the not so extreme.
yeah, and me personally, man, I could never, I can't, I can't date any of them when they're prepping for contests and stuff like that. They just, the look just gets too hard, and it's just, I love muscular girls, but it's way better to me. They feel and look way better when they're curvy, when they're still off season or plump or athletic. Um, it's just, so what's messed up about them, like this is almost all of them, when they're in their bigger state, they all think they're fat. And what's crazy is even when they're in off season, they're still got less fat on them than 98% of the women in the world. They're just not small. They're not I don't want to say less fat than 98% of the women, but they got less fat. They're a lot more strong and capable and physically fit than a lot of people who have um, normal, you could say, bodies. But when they're in that bigger state, they're just constantly like, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. And it's like, I've told some of them this, I'm like, you're just constantly, it's like you're looking at yourself. They are perfectionists, and I can relate to this being an artist, but I'm like, you all are chasing this stage look that the judges want you all to look all the time. It's like you want it year round, and then you hate your bodies when it fills out and goes into its more natural cycles. Um, to a point where sometimes when even if I'm complimenting it, they're just like, ugh, like I'm, kind of mad at me that I'm interested in, I like their body type the way it is. Um, it's so funny. I've done photos where I've drawn some of them from reference from those. photos, and they're okay with me posting the drawings, but they don't want me to ever post how they actually look. Because they're like, no, I'm chunky, I'm too chunky. Like I don't want to be in a photo. They want to always look super shredded. And what's funny is at the same time, they'll all admit that when they're prepping for shows and stuff like that, their faces, they don't like the way their faces look. They're like, you'll see sometimes on Instagrams that they'll blank out their faces because without makeup, their faces are looking really, really, really hard and dry. And even if you don't want to say masculine, it looks ugly, you know? It's too gaunt. It's kind of sickly looking. Um, even the male competitors when they're getting ready for their competitions, you see them the day of, they all look unhealthy up close. Yeah, you see these big muscles, but look at their faces. It looks like they're aging super fast. I'm not gonna say that they all look old, but they just they look like they're barely holding it together, you know? So
Yeah, I don't know. Have you seen Pumping Iron 2 with Beth Francis and Carla Dunlap?
have I seen what now?
Pumping Iron 2, the women.
No, I didn't. If I
Well,
did, I
uh,
barely remember it.
yeah, well, I have a clip, and there was this judge, and he was critiquing Beth Francis. And, I'm gonna play it and let you see.
Every woman I've ever met has wanted to improve her body, but Bev Francis does not look like a woman. She does not represent what women want to look like.
Time, they thought she wasn't appealing, compared to the other women, you know.
She doesn't. I mean, to me, she doesn't. She does. That judge is very right when she says that women don't want to look like that. And generally speaking, even female competitors, they don't want to look like Beth Francis. She looks very masculine. And what's funny is she's way smaller than these competitors today. It's not always about size, but there is something about the look. And even the way she was strutting down the stage didn't look um, it didn't communicate like a feminine persona, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's what. Go ahead.
nah, she was, well, she had a background of being a powerlifter before bodybuilding. And so, I think they kind of, somebody, she was, I must say, recruited to do bodybuilding. And so she wanted a coach. And so the coach was kind of speaking on the ropes and stuff like that. I think her and the coach, they kind of fell in love like during the movie, when they see the movie. But yeah, yeah, when I watched that movie, that stands out to me, you know, because I never seen it until George was talking about it, and when I seen it, that stood out to me because that's how I would say society looks at women bodybuilders. They hate Arnold themselves, and he took out shows, and they say Arnold's a white bodybuilder.
I mean, I think yeah, Arnold is bodybuilders, but I do think Arnold also uh, maybe there is some people think maybe it's sexism and stuff, and I think maybe that could be the case. But he did like bikini girls, and I believe he's had figure at the Arnold figure and bikini, and I think they're including wellness. I don't know, but I don't think Arnold likes the extreme look for the women, and that's his right. He doesn't have to conform to what these other people want from him. Yes, they can get mad at him, but the truth is his fitness expo is the biggest one in the world. Like it's bigger than the Olympia Expo by far. Um, and there's still lots of other female competitors and athletes of all types there. It's just not, if you're just talking about the stage performers, it's only for the women, it's bikini and wellness and figure, you know. But
Yeah,
I think when I was younger, I definitely didn't like that Arnold was against female bodybuilders, but that's also too when I was younger, I thought there were more attractive female bodybuilders to be seen, and I thought they could have chosen to pull this sport or pageant into a different direction to start getting average girls more interested. Like, um, but no, they're not. They want to keep it. To me, they want to keep it a niche. And the problem is, if you keep it a niche, it's never going to make that much money ever. It's never going to, and that's why, George and all them got to learn that they're beating a dead horse when they try to say, when Andrea Shaw is making $50,000, and then the male competitor, I can't remember who won this last year, he's making 600,000. Like, it's because proportionately, way more people are buying the tickets to see the men's show than they are seeing the women's show,
yeah,
And even to be honest, that cut that they're giving her compared to what he's making could be even generous, Like, I think some of the other female competitors are bringing in way more tickets than the female bodybuilders. Now, they always say that it's because there's more competitors, but like when it comes to bikini, yeah, that's true, but there's also way more people in the world who are interested in seeing, say, bikini competitors than female bodybuilders. I'm not. I don't like caring to see the bikini ladies. I'll say right now, for me, the ladies that look the best on stage are the wellness girls, and that's a newer division that's taken over. But that is something that when girls see a wellness girl walk by, because there's several at the gym that I train at, you don't ever hear the girls saying "ooh," like or giving that look, even not even saying "ew." Like it's more like wow, like even if they're not trying to get to that level themselves, wellness girls still look amazing, you know. I do think that the judges should allow there to be a little bit more balance when it comes to the wellness girls, where they should be allowed to build up their upper bodies a little more, because I've heard of some of them having to like not train their upper bodies like weeks or like a month or even months leading up to a show, because the whole idea with them is to have much bigger lower bodies than their upper bodies. But I
yeah,
just don't understand why with the women they can't find a balance where it's like, okay, she can have both muscle up top and lower. Still, because she's a woman, her lower body is naturally going to be bigger than the upper body, proportion wise. But why can't they still have that balance where you have, say, a physique girl upper body with a wellness girl lower body? I think that feels like the ultimate combination, and that would probably be what I think women's bodybuilding should start to morph into if they want to get more people interested in them. But if you look at the proportions of women's bodybuilding, like over the years, um, their upper bodies are way bigger than their lower bodies, and that automatically to most people gives off the impression of a man's type of build. It's like, why is her shoulders so much bigger and her lats so much bigger than her waist and stuff? Like that's not a that's not a natural design with women. And I'm not saying that just because it's not natural, it can't look good because like they're almost all, I mean, all the Olympians are taking steroids. So there's nothing natural about it, but I'm just saying there's a way to incorporate natural design into this muscular look that they're chasing to make it just look more appeasing to people, and not just make it to be about where only extreme schmoes and a very small community of people like those women.
Yeah. Have you ever been to like a natural bodybuilder show like OTB?
Yeah, I've been to several. And with them, I mean, it depends. I'll say like natural bodybuilders, like I think for the most part, like it's not going to impress people when they compare it to like what they see with the
Yeah.
the because on the especially from the photos and stuff, the Olympians look way more superhuman. But when you see like natural bodybuilders in person, both men and women, they look good. It's like they have great healthy physiques. They look capable. Um, the women, to me, look honestly, I think the natural women's bodybuilders look now significantly better than the Olympian bodybuilders. That's not to say that the girls who take steroids, there are girls that take steroids that still can look good and feminine, but the stuff that the Olympians having them or that they're having to take to get to that peak performance of the Olympia, it goes way beyond just steroids.
There
So
was a female bodybuilder that stood out for me when I was in the OTB show, and she was a women's physique competitor, and she got a pro card, you know, on an amateur level. And stuff. So yeah, I've been trying to know her name. You know, the name didn't like resonate. I didn't really catch her name. I just knew who. I knew she won on women's physique. You know, I wanted to see if she was on IG. Like, but what bodybuilders that you was like growing up?
I had started to compile some pictures of some, but I just was like, why? There's no need to. Um, um, I Are you still there? Okay, yeah, you still
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
there. I was gonna say one of my favorites is this Amazon. Her name was Jennifer Kaler. I think on a few shows ago, I've shown you pictures of what she looks like. I don't know if I can do a share screen. This is Jennifer Kaler. Ah,
Okay,
like she's
I
super
just a
tall.
little. Yeah. Okay.
Let me see if I can pull up. She just looks way more attractive. Um, she's not super muscular. Like, I mean, she's muscular, but not like Olympia level.
Right.
But I feel like this look is better than at least what they've been pushing recently. She has a way prettier face. I'm trying to find other ones like Colette Nelson. Like, I don't know if any of these girls ever made it to Olympia. I don't think they did.
How old is that? I got that picture.
They're from the early 2000s.
Um, Probably 2000. I
Uh,
was like in my 20s and stuff.
yeah. Let's see. But look at this. Like, I think this look is what they should look like on stage. Like, even though she's doing this for a photo shoot, this
Yeah.
is a better look. Like a girl, she could get on stage, and even though it's still muscular, it's not freakish to a point where people are all like, "Oh my God!" Like, am I looking at? I don't know what I'm looking at. Yeah, she would probably still get trolled, and dudes would be like, "Oh, you look like a dude." Um,
but it
she's
wouldn't be as bad as now.
yeah, it's not going to be as much of a turnoff to let's see, Andrea Thiel had a very nice off-season physique. So like girls like this, I feel like if they were to allow them to come on stage looking more like this, I think female bodybuilding would get way more of an audience than it does right now if they were to do that because there's just they're a little bit softer. That's the main thing. Some of these girls are still big. Like it's not always about size. Let's see.
I think like a lot of things that they talk about is conditioning and all this other stuff, and come with a bigger package, and that's the bodybuilding talk. You know, have more size and and
The
attention.
conditioning is what they're going too far with. Conditioning. Like they want to see more striations. It's like they want to see all the human anatomy, like as if there was no skin on top of it. It's like just go look at an anatomy book. Like I don't care to see that, not on a woman. Now this lady is extreme, or but she looks better to me than Gina Davis. She's an old school, but because she's big, she's huge, but she looks better than almost any of the
She
girls
doesn't
in the
compete
Olympics.
anymore.
Nah, she
She,
doesn't. All these girls that I'm bringing up, like, this is what she looks like. Just, yeah, she's a big, strong woman, but it still looks way more appeasing to the eye than today's competitors. Um, I'm trying to think if there's any else that come to mind. There's others, but I can't. I don't
I mean,
want to.
that's good enough. That's good enough, man.
But yeah,
Yeah,
those were some of my favorites. Chris Morrell, Gina Davis, um, early Nariah Evans, Jennifer Kaler, Andrea Thiel, yeah, Brenda Ragnon,
yeah.
yeah, Brenda, yeah, she was good.
I think I drew her one time.
I drew her
Yeah,
several times, but I don't have any of them anymore.
yeah. Yeah, but one thing about I always like drawing them because I think I've told you that it kind of like if I wanted to draw, it always gave me an inspiration to draw women's muscles, bodybuilders.
I've always been able to finish or stay more focused to finish drawings when it came to muscle women. Versus when I'm doing my other character stuff, I can get really discombobulated and overwhelmed drawing like the stuff for my story. But when it comes to like muscle women, it was easier for me to stay focused because of that, I guess that excitement. And even to this day, it's actually easier for me to stay focused and finish a drawing pretty fast if I'm trying to complete it for a competitor that I know in person, or if it's a commission that I got hired to do for a competitor. Um, those I can knock out. I can, stay pretty focused on them and kind of overcome some of my perfectionism because that's the thing is the perfectionism is what causes the mental blocks and the inability to focus at times. Um, so that's why I'm constantly looking to have a model that I can draw and reference from in real life. Um, One who I don't have to fly across the country to see, or when I only see them at certain special events. But that's not the way the universe has it set out right now. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure You'll find who you want to draw. You'll get them out.
We'll see. I'm going to draw at this strongman event this upcoming weekend, this Friday through Sunday, back in where I'm from. It's Arlington, Texas, which is nearby Mesquite, where I'm from. Well, not nearby, but close enough. So I'm gonna be going back there. The strongman and the strong woman competitors, I they to me, not all of them. A lot of them are really big and bulky, but there's several of them that are way more attractive than the female bodybuilders. I've been surprised how many times I like drawing some of them, their physiques versus versus the female bodybuilders. Because the strong woman, it's not about coming in super conditioned. It's about, I mean, their level of conditioning is actually for athletics. So it doesn't matter if they have extra fat on their thighs and stuff. It's all about, can you run fast enough to go pick that log and then carry it, 50 yards over here. Um, but yeah, there's a surprising number of them that are very, very pretty. Um, and I mean, size wise, like they are much bigger and stronger than female bodybuilders. It's not even close. Not even close. Like several strong women competitors legitimately are stronger than most men in, probably I'd say, in the world. Hello?
Yeah, yeah. I've spoken to some of them. Some of them they're from Australia. Some of them. Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you now. I don't know if you're delayed or what, but I can hear you.
Yeah. It's kind of breaking up a little bit. Yeah, I was saying that I've spoken to some strong women competitors and stuff. Yeah, I would like to go to a strongman competition. But they don't have it in New York City. I think they have it upstate. Yeah. So I don't know if that's gonna
Yeah,
be possible.
this group that I'm doing it with, they bounce around. Like one year they were doing it in Daytona, then another in Madison, Wisconsin, another year in Virginia, West Virginia, and then this year Arlington, Texas. They're a newer group, I believe. It's called Official Strongman Games, but
Yeah.
they're blowing up. They have a big roster this year. It is super big. So um, we'll see. And I've said before too that generally speaking, the strong women competitors are more laid back than the female bodybuilders. They're definitely shy and standoffish at first, um, but once like one of them gets drawn or they see an art piece that I do for one of their friends, they are much more like they'll start to flock over versus with female bodybuilders, it's like, yeah, it's very much like the view is that all men, especially because I'm an artist that's drawing muscular women, I'm getting the schmo label even harder, like I think, than the normal guy. So that's something they're not gonna tell me that. None of them will ever say it, but it's there's a weird dynamic with attraction, I feel like, in the force of in the way that it works between those of us that like muscular women and then the muscular women themselves. It's like they want attention, but they don't want it from guys who are too interested. And they perceive schmoes and guys who draw muscular women as like being too interested in the whole thing to where it's like, oh, you fetishize us, that's, at least that's one of the objections some of them have said up front. But I don't know. There's no way to really
And
combat
they
it. It's
told
not like,
you, And they told you that personally? They told you that?
Well, I mean, so they one of the things that I've gotten some pushback on is they say that my drawings that I'm over sexualizing the women. Like they don't like, and this is something that they've accused all like female muscle artists of, is they don't like us drawing big, like let me see, like big chi-chis on them, like they say that that's, and what's so funny is I don't even think about it now. And the reason I draw bigger, so like you can see, like not only are her, um, you know, not only her boobs big, but also her thighs and stuff are super big. The reason I do that is to offset, to to bring a balance to the level of muscle that they have. Like if I just draw them super muscular and shredded and conditioned, which I can do, I can do that in a drawing. It's not fun for me, uh, because at the end of the day, it's like all I'm doing is drawing one of my guy characters, but now I'm just putting, long hair and, not even breasts, because when they're super shredded like that, if they don't have implants, then it's basically just pecs. But for these cartoons, to keep their balance, I have to exaggerate the curviness. What's funny too is they don't even notice when I exaggerate stuff like the cheeks. Well, some of them do, because then they're like, oh, that's fat, But it's like, no, the cheeks for a bigger woman, that's a very important aspect to make her look feminine and cute. Um, I also will play with the lips, make them thicker. And most normal audience people, like just regular people, they tend to dig it. They're like, they don't say anything about it being over sexualized. I've had like a few moms here and there who like covered their son's eyes when he was flipping through my portfolio, but it's very, very few. I mean, we're talking about between all the thousands of people that I've interacted with that's seen my work, it's probably happened twice. And I do rotate my portfolio so that I try to make sure that it's kid friendly whenever I'm in kid friendly places. If I'm around adults, I can, have whatever out there. But one of the things that I noticed is that general audience members, when they see my muscle women, they don't ever say, "Oh, that looks like a man." I've never. Now, when I was a little kid and I was learning how to draw muscle women, I won't say little kid, when I was 12, first doing it, I did get from some people who saw it, they're like, "Ugh, that looks like a man." Like parents had said it, sister, certain friends. So I kept all those drawings hidden. But throughout my throughout when I was young, I was like, man, I'm like, I can show people that muscular women did not automatically mean it looks like a man. So I would constantly look for ways to make them cute and feminine. And I would actually go and study. I'm talking about like, do thousands of hours of looking at some of those women that I showed you, and even more, some of their faces, and I would look for ways on how to make it look more like a Disney cartoon, Like I could be like, okay, I'm gonna draw Gina Davis or Jennifer Kaler, but how would I do it if I was drawing her like um Wonder Woman type of face, like as if she was if they were in the comics, or if it was Belle from Beauty and the Beast, like how to merge their facial type with that. And that's what developed my style when it comes to drawing this woman. And I get mostly positive feedback. The most negative feedback tends to come from, I guess it would be, say, the female competitors themselves, the extreme ones, like the Olympia level ones. They don't tend to like this curvy, muscular look that I'm putting out. Um, Lower level competitors do like it. Wellness girls and all that, they generally like it too. But it's like the female bodybuilders, they want that super jacked look. And I've told several of them, I was like, you know, if I draw you like that, it's not going to look. You want to hire me. You want to hire me because you've seen these cute drawings that I've done. But I'm like, if you hire me to try to transform your body into what you actually look like and into a cartoon, it's not going to look cute like you think it is. It's going to look super hard, super shredded. It's going to be very turn off, it's going to turn off a lot of people. Um, Now, I have had some high level competitors like Kelly Trevino. She saw me draw in a cute style. She allowed me to draw her in a cute style several times, and she was active in promoting my art early on. Early on, when I was getting established with the female bodybuilders, um, I had another thought that I'm losing right now, but yeah, it's a and also too, when I was talking to several of them, I just became aware of how much body dysmorphia has caused them to like almost like hate femininity. Like they got shamed growing up. A lot of them got shamed growing up for being quote unquote big or fat. Some of them had eating disorders and stuff. And now it's like it's like subconsciously they think the only way they'll look beautiful is if they look as manly as possible, you know?
Yeah.
As well, and when they're stage ready, when they're getting stage ready, like take off the makeup, they look very manly. Like, so, but then it's like that seems to be what they want to look like all year round, and anytime they don't look like that, it's like they're full of a lot of self-loathing, like a lot of like, oh, I look fat, I look this, I look that. It's you'd be surprised how many of them I've taken pictures of with their drawings, or
Sounds sad.
and
Sounds sad.
they're like, don't 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 post the picture of me with the drawing, or don't post the picture that you used of reference, because they don't like how they look. They're like, the drawing looks great, but I'm just like, and I've told several of them, like, you're beautiful, but it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if
You
any
can't
of them,
tell, not to get
huh?
you, you can't tell. I learned that you can't tell women that they're beautiful. It seems like they have to earn it because it's like it's like when you tell them that they're beautiful, they pay it no mind. I noticed that a lot. I've heard people say, but I actually, like, okay, I was saying, like, it kind of reminds me of like high school, like, you like the prettiest girl, but in your mind, but I had a friend and he was crazy about this girl, and he he no matter what he did, the girl would pay him no mind and stuff. And so sometimes he would want me to go talk to her for him and stuff like that. And he would follow her, he would follow her home and all that. He would try to follow her. But the girl didn't like him,
Right.
and
And the more attention he was
so
giving her, the more she was turned off.
right. Yeah, and it was funny because there were girls that to me was prettier than her. And I told him this, and I was like, like, yo, I didn't understand that shit. Like, the girls that you was friendly with, you probably could have had a shot with them. And they was prettier than her. The prettier than this girl that he was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs with, over with. And he just, he didn't listen, and but he ain't never got far with that. So that was like an example. And I've experienced that too. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was trying to try to impress women and all that type of stuff. And that's why I say certain things, about friends, female friends, and all that type of stuff because you know that's that's how certain experiences I've dealt with like that. It- but what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter if you call a woman beautiful. she ain't gonna pay no mind, especially if she doesn't feel the same way about you. She don't have that attraction, like you do with her. You could say you could write her a love song. It don't mean anything to her. She gonna just say, "Oh, that's sweet," and that's it. You know,
Well,
that's why that's how I look at these. That's how I look at a lot of FBD fans. They like
yeah,
these
they,
women, but the women don't like them back. And that's
yeah,
what
you're right. You're
that's what
right.
kind of like opened my eyes to it a bit. I'm not gonna lie, I still do my little shit in there. I'm gonna keep it real. But I just see a lot of them, they just say all these compliments. And all you're gonna get is, oh, thank you. And that's it. It goes back to what you were saying about but I think you said something about compliments and stuff like that. But yeah, but that's what I see a lot of times.
Well, here's the thing. When the woman is not attracted to you and you're complimenting her, she's just probably thinking all he wants to do is get in my pants. That's it. Um, and when it comes to these female bodybuilders and stuff, there's a reason why. Like, if you go look at most of my last like muscle women drawings, none of them are based on female bodybuilders. Like, yeah, I had the one of Linda Murray, but a guy hired me to do it. A fan hired me to do that. Outside of that, over the years, I unless they're reaching out to me to hire them, I have lost attraction to them. And I think some of it's because of that. I think I always knew that they weren't interested in their fans, but when I would go see them in person and realize like none of them are nearly as attractive as they seem on their pictures. And then the few that are very attractive, usually they already have a boyfriend, but in a number of years, they're gonna get pushed to such an extreme with all the gear that they're on that they're not gonna be that attractive anymore. Um, and sure enough, that's how it is. Like I look at all the Wings of Strength girls. I mean, I don't want to say names, but I've seen several of them before they hit this peak level that they're at now. And I'm like, back when I saw some of them at the gym, they looked way more attractive than what I'm seeing jump up on stage nowadays. Like even walking past some of them, it's like I don't even I don't even want to. They don't want to speak to me either. But I mean most of them. But now it's like nah, man. Like you all are you looking too freakish. Like it's not intriguing at all. And I can only imagine what they're gonna look like once they really age, because the ones I'm talking about, some of them are not even 30 yet, some of them in the early 30s. It's um this sport is pushing them in a direction that their biological makeup is it's too opposite of what their biological makeup is, and I think it's gonna have some kind of repercussion. Um, so I was about to say, one of the things, and I'm gonna get ready to go soon, but so this is the drawing that I did of Linda Murray,
Yeah.
that commission that I did. One of the things I want to point out is I don't have the reference photo, I have it in my text, but if I was to, I don't know why my camera's automatically angling, but one of the things I did is I made her muscles actually bigger than what they are proportion to her. But a lot of people still like this drawing, and none of them said, "Oh, it looks manly" or whatever. And the reason why is because I highlighted I made her eyes super, super like, feminine and appealing, and then I exaggerated the size of her breasts because she has huge chest muscles and huge biceps. So to help offset that, I have to make her breasts significantly bigger than they are in real life. And then what did I do? I also lengthened her waist a little bit and made her thighs and butt much bigger as well. Because female bodybuilders, like there's a little bit more of a balance here. but female bodybuilders have a much narrower butt and thighs compared to their upper body than this. And that's why this, for a cartoon, can still sell the image of, oh, this is still, somewhat cute, or it's not like, oh my God, that looks like a dude, you know? Some would say it does because it is, it's based off an actual female bodybuilder who is competing at the highest level. But relative to what these girls tend to actually look like, it's not so much, you know. And Linda looks amazing. Linda still looks amazing. She's, I think, getting close to 60 years old, and she, girls like her and Alina Popa, they're aging very, very well because, yeah, they pushed themselves to an extreme, but then they also knew when to step back, and the extreme that the judges were pushing back then wasn't as hard as it is right now, you know? So I think that allows for them to be able to, um, you know, uh, to have to maintain their beauty and their health and their vibrancy much later in life. I don't know that that's going to necessarily be the same for a lot of these girls if they're continuing to compete at this high level for more than 5 years. Like I look at what they're looking like right now, and I'm like, man, I think they need to get off stage after about 5 years. They keep pushing this past 10 years and stuff, man, they're not gonna look like women too much anymore.
Yeah, I hear people say that, at a certain point, they're not able to get pregnant, especially when they're lean and all that type of stuff. And, some guy on Instagram, he was saying that, I probably should have bought the clip, but, but he was saying that, when they get to that point, they're not able to have babies stuff like that. But
Yeah,
guys find them attractive and stuff.
yeah. Several female former women competitors um, have told. I dated one who actually said that she was, even if she wanted to have kids now, she can't. You know, um, because of being pushed to that extreme. So uh, I don't know all the nature of the biology and how it affects it, but I do know that their their cycles are being thrown off by a lot of this stuff. Um, and yeah,
I
that
mean,
is what it
that's the
is.
choice. Yeah, I mean, that's the choice that they make. You can't stop them. So I mean, I guess they're gonna learn the hard way. You know, a lot of
Yeah,
times,
but then it's
women
like,
today. Now I was
why
saying women
sacrifice all
today.
that?
Yeah, I mean, but women today, they want to do whatever they want. You can't really tell them anything. They gotta realize, you know, to stop or not to stop.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is voice our opinion. But I wanted to actually take that moment to say I need to sign off now because I got a couple other things I want to do tonight. Then I got to drive out to Vegas tomorrow.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this. Because at first I was gonna do like this Sarah the Milo thing with female bodybuilders, but I didn't really have too much of an opinion on it like that. And I probably would have said some things, but not as much as have told me. So I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for bringing up the topic and stuff. And it was a pleasure. Um, just let me know until the next time. And hopefully, we do
Yeah.
another group discussion with all the other crazy characters out there. I'm pretty sure they're going to have, if any of them watching this, I know they're going to probably have some stuff to say. They're probably going to be mad and be like, why are they Why is it
No,
trash
I think it wasn't nothing personal. I think I wanted objective, something objective. It wasn't nothing like because I was going to ask George, but something was like nah, because I know how he is. He probably gonna be on defensive mode, and
tonight?
and he's not gonna be, you know, he's gonna be subjective, and and it's more of a like a really objective, like how do people really view them type of
Right,
issue, you know?
right, right. Yeah,
Because
I agree with you on that one. I think it was wise to just let us rest our peace because I don't think either of us were being malicious. We were just stating, what we think the direction the sport is headed in and how that direction is going to continue to turn off regular people, the normal mainstream audience. So,
all right, man. So I'll catch you next time.
all right, man, peace. Have a good night, bro.
All right.